Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're breaking down that absolute thriller of a 2026 World Cup semifinal. We're going to match some high-energy sports commentary with deep tactical analysis. Because, wow, we are looking at a match that didn't just end a tournament run for one team, it completely reshaped our understanding of another.
Let's start with the most crucial question, right? How on earth did La Roja completely neutralize France's star-studded, globally feared attack? Coming into this match in Arlington, Texas, France was widely hailed as the absolute best team at the World Cup. They had pace, power, and unbelievable individual brilliance. Yet, Spain didn't just survive the pressure. They flipped the script and dictated the entire narrative.
So, here is our roadmap for today. We'll quickly cover Spain's shock victory, the decisive penalty, their tactical masterclass, some standout player performances, and finally take a look ahead to the big final.
Okay, Section 1, Spain shocks France. Let's get into the immediate fallout of this semi-final upset.
The shocking reality we are waking up to is that Spain has confidently knocked out the tournament heavyweights, advancing to their second Men's World Cup final. And listen, this wasn't some lucky escape. It was a surgical dissection of a footballing giant. That crucial number 2 represents Spain's definitive 2-0 scoreline, which was constructed through a complete collective performance. Spain didn't just park the bus and defend a lead against France. They controlled the tactical structure of the match, moved the ball beautifully through pressure, and prevented France from ever establishing a rhythm. Honestly, it was the greatest compliment Spain could pay to France, taking them so seriously that they engineered a flawless game plan to totally dismantle them.
Moving to Section 2, the decisive penalty, the controversial turning point in the 22nd minute.
You know, the moment that really turned this game on its head came when 19-year-old superstar Lamine Yamal applied intense pressure and it forced a catastrophic error from the French defense. Expert TV pundits like former England international Chris Sutton were incredibly quick to point out the wild lack of awareness from Lucas Digne. Sutton called it, quote, wild and reckless. Digne basically went to clear the ball in midair, but his back was turned and he just didn't see the teenager swooping in. He caught Yamal right in the thigh. Despite a few brief protests for a handball, the referee pointed straight to the spot. And, under enormous pressure, Mikel Oyarzabal stepped up cool as you like to convert and give Spain a 1-0 lead.
This whole sequence brilliantly illustrates Gary Neville's point on ITV. He noted that Digne completely closed his body off, totally failing to track a player as brilliant as Yamal on his outside. Neville actually compared this exact error to similar penalties conceded by Luka Modric and Harry Kane earlier in the tournament. It really goes to show that swinging a leg blindly in the box at this level is just incredibly costly. It was a single lapse in awareness, for sure, but it changed the entire complexion of the semifinal.
Which brings us to Section 3, Spain's tactical masterclass. How a connected collective suffocated individual brilliance.
So how exactly did Spain transition from that single French mistake into a game-long tactical strangulation? It's like a giant puzzle, really. France entered the match relying heavily on the sheer speed and creativity of guys like Kylian Mbappe, Ousmane Dembele, Michael Olise, and Bradley Barcola. But instead of sitting back in a passive, low defensive block to weather the storm, Spain did something brilliant. They compressed the midfield. They protected the central passing lanes and pressured France out wide. The distances between Spain's defense, midfield, and attack remained insanely compact. This meant France's forwards were constantly isolated and surrounded by multiple defenders the second they tried to attack. It was collective structure absolutely suffocating individual star power.
Let's fast forward to the 58th minute to see how this builds into Pedro Porro's magnificent team goal, proving it was the product of coordinated movement, not just a lucky break. Step 1. Spain systematically moves the French team laterally to stretch their defense. Step 2. Porro and Dani Olmo exchange a rapid, precise pass right on the edge of the box. And Step 3. Porro doesn't even stop. He continues his run into the penalty area and guides this beautifully controlled finish past French goalkeeper Mike Maignan. That sequence perfectly represented Spain's technical identity and position intelligence.
All right, Section 4, standout player performances. We are validating the narrative with the numbers.
To back up all these tactical claims, we have to look at the hard data, and the player ratings from Goal.com perfectly validate Spain's dominance. It all starts with a flawless spine, a 9 out of 10 for Rodri running the show in midfield, matched by Pau Cubarsí's outstanding positional blocks at the back. Building off that solid foundation, you had the creative edge. Dani Olmo was superb in tight areas, getting a 9. Yamal grabbed an 8 for constantly destabilizing the French line to win the penalty, and Porro also earned an 8, capping his intense defensive shift with the decisive goal. You're looking at a flawless collective effort, managed beautifully by Luis de la Fuente.
Finally, Section 5, looking ahead to the final, the ultimate stakes for La Roja.
With France officially in the rearview mirror, let's take a second to visualize the massive stakes awaiting Spain. Just look at their arduous journey through a total gauntlet of European heavyweights. Since the knockout stages began, they dispatched Austria 3-0, edged past Portugal 1-0, overcame Belgium 2-1, and now conquered France 2-0. Notice a trend here? This insanely resilient Spanish defense has only conceded a single goal since the group stages ended. That is a terrifying prospect for whoever meets them next.
Meanwhile, the Golden Boot race is adding a fascinating little subplot. The eliminated Kylian Mbappe is currently tied at the top with 8 goals, right alongside Leo Messi. But Spain's Mikel Oyarzabal, who scored that ice-cold penalty against France, still has an outside shot. He's sitting on 4 goals with 1 match left to play, so hey, anything is possible.
All of this sets the stage for a monumental clash on July 19th at MetLife Stadium. Spain is going to be watching closely as they wait to see who emerges from the other side of the bracket, either England or Argentina. When you tune into that game, keep a close eye on how Spain compresses the midfield, because it will absolutely be the key to whether they can repeat the legendary glory they first tasted back in 2010. Which leaves us with this final thought. We just watched a team systematically dismantle the highly favored, star-studded French squad using pure collective brilliance and tactical discipline. But can this flawless Spanish machine execute just one more masterclass on the biggest stage of them all to capture the 2026 World Cup? I guess we'll find out on Sunday. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep enjoying the beautiful game.